So let's just watch a couple news clips. It's titled "A Modern Day KKK Assault Black Ranchers in Rural El Paso County Claim they're being terrorized." So we have, let's see here.
Has handled more than 2 years of disputes between the couple and their neighbors. Now they're speaking exclusively to Denver 7 on camera together for the first time.
And Denver 7's Micah Smith has tonight's exclusive that now has El Paso County deputies defending their actions.
Farming while black in America. Farming while black in America.
The voice you hear is Nicole Mallory's, and the person being arrested is her husband, Courtney C.W. Mallory. The Mallorys are black ranchers in rural El Paso County and say this moment is the culmination of years of blatant racism by community members and the El Paso County Sheriff's Office's failure to respond.
A lot of their pets have been...
Black ranchers in El Paso County, Colorado, were arrested earlier this week after neighbors harassed them. Courtney and Nicole Mallory, owners of Freedom Acres Ranch, were jailed on stalking, tampering with water or utility, and theft charges. Courtney Mallory was detained with a level 5 felony charge. They were accused by their neighbor, Teresa Clark, but it's unclear what led to those charges being...
Now here's something else, that black farmers filed $5 billion lawsuit against the USDA. You think that has something to do with something? Like this is a different news story that's just separate that ran earlier.
It was racist. It was based on skin color, not on need or economic conditions.
Okay, so the charges that the two black ranchers in Colorado, the charges that they're faced with actually 3 charges, right? They're faced with stalking charges. And I got the arrest warrant or some kind of affidavits here. I should just read the 2 affidavits verbatim. So we'll come back to that. So you have Nicole and Courtney Mallory. And I think it's just them two. I haven't heard about any children or grandchildren. So you have a nice husband and wife duo, a dynamic duo. They're going to get arrested for stalking. Now that's interesting. They got 1,000 acres. Why would they need to stalk anybody? Now there's apparently some sort of road or an easement or something, but the easement is actually on their property. So is that people driving up on their property saying, hey, we're allowed to drive up on your property? And then Nicole was later arrested on the same charges of stalking. She was released an hour later. Courtney was arrested Monday on a warrant. He posted a $6,000 bond, and he was released after spending a night in jail. Nicole was released about an hour after her arrest. A judge ruled that one of the conditions of Courtney's release was that he had no contact with the neighbors. This article said Courtney is the guy. So the fucking fake news. They're trying to... Anyways, Judge Deborah Pearson told the court is concerned about the risk to the victim and the community as part of this bogus case. Colorado's 4th Judicial District Court Judge Shannon Gerhardt is the wife of the police officer that the Mallorys are saying that harassed them. Shannon Gerhardt. So that's the damn cop is a Gerhardt. The judge is a Gerhardt. Are they in cahoots? Because that's a conflict of interest case. If he had to get an arrest warrant, it better not have Shannon Gerhardt's signature on it. CRE 1002, that's the requirement of the original. When it comes to rules of evidence in Colorado, you may include the actual file in the digital camera that was taken. The original copy is absolutely required. You could say that it was lost or destroyed. That's an acceptable excuse. How come you don't have the original copy? Because it was lost or destroyed. But you have to have the original. You have to have the original. Photocopies are duplicates. I don't want the photocopy. I don't want the duplicate. Now, a carbon copy, those are duplicate originals. So they're both. They're both a duplicate and they're original because you pushed hard right and it went through 4 pieces of papers. Accurate transcriptions of sound recordings are admissible. People v. Gable, Colorado Appeals, 1982. Photographs are admissible even in matters where words could describe something similar, just so long as their probative effects outweigh their possible prejudicial effects. People v. Roark and People v. Mattis, Colorado, 1982. The shit that they had to go through. Nicole and Courtney Mallory. The goddamn motherfucking neighbors not only killed a pig, killed a dog, killed a baby goat, they also killed a helper. They killed a man. They killed Donaciano Amaya. This is a fucking murder case. This is a murder fucking... They shot a man in the back of the head. They shot Donaciano Amaya in the back of the head. 43-year-old Donaciano Amaya. What did he do to anybody? He was just helping a black couple on their farm and he got shot in the chicken coop. 6,000 block of South Johnson Road, Rush, Colorado, eastern El Paso County, Colorado Springs. So they've done other things, drove over the fence post and they stole the motion sensor and their surveillance camera. The cops stole the damn surveillance cameras. You have neighbors driving by, brandishing arms, driving over a fence post. There's spray paint where they put the N-word on things in their house. So they're just writing N-word inside their house. How did they get inside Courtney and Nicole Mallory's house? The white supremacist neighbors refer to Courtney and Nicole Mallory as those BLM N-words. They vandalized and mutilated their cows, so they killed cows. Or vandalized and mutilated. Vandalized and mutilated. So spray painted and mutilated. So what, stabbed them? So they're torturing cows. Killed a baby goat, poisoned a dog, gutted a pig. Sliced a pig open and had all of its entrails, all of its intestines spilling out all over the place. A lot of this stuff you could just say is like petty fucking harassment shit. Maybe, I don't fucking know. It's, property crime. I couldn't see a police officer accepting any of this shit. Oh, that's just the white supremacist KKK stealing my fence post. Get on out of here, you KKK pieces of shit. Nicole Mallory said, we're being bullied, we're being harassed, we're chased, we're followed. There's spray paint where they put the N-word on things in our house. So they go in and on the refrigerator just says N-word, on the fucking wall N-word in the bed. So what the fuck? And then we're supposed to pretend that nothing's going on, nothing's happening, huh? They said, the El Paso sheriff had said, they reviewed all the things and apparently they called them like 100, almost 200 fucking times. Or there was like 100 calls out there and 25 calls came from Courtney and Nicole. I'm not for sure exactly. But they also said like 20-something calls came from their neighbor. So that's interesting. We got to look at this neighbor. Who is this great neighbor that we're going to pretend is Teresa Clark? Okay, Teresa Clark. She can't do no wrong, I'm sure. Teresa Clark is on the up and up. I bet you Teresa Clark is a regular old Abraham Lincoln. Probably going to make sure she... like Jesus Christ, make sure everybody in the neighborhood has plenty of food. I'm sure she's going to make sure everybody has fish and bread and chips and dip and vinegar. Nicole told CBS News, we're bullied, we're harassed, we're chased, we're followed. There's spray paint where they put the N-word on things in her house. Vandalized, mutilated their cattle. They said that either the neighbors or it says here, accuse the neighbors of killing a man who had worked for him. Now, this is Freedom Acres Ranch. It's about 600 to maybe over 1,000 acres. Now, all the neighbors around them they only got 40-acre lots, right? Only 40 acres. You should be happy with your 40 fucking acres. 40 acres, you got a mule too? You got your 40 acres and a mule, huh? But you have Nicole and Courtney Mallory who own 600 to 1,000 acres, so there's jealousy. They're fucking jealous as fuck. And you know what? I bet you if you want to get in good with Courtney and Nicole Mallory, just treat them nice. Treat them kindly. Courtney Mallory had called the police after Donaciano Amaya had been shot and killed to get some extra protection. He's thinking that he was meant for him. They didn't kill Donaciano Amaya because they was looking for Donaciana. They were looking for Courtney. And so he had called the police to get them to drive around the house. Police said Tuesday they got a person of interest in Amaya's homicide. Do they got a person of interest? Is that a suspect? Is that an arrest? A person of interest. Wow, that's like goddamn nothing. And then you got that Teresa Clark. That Teresa Clark seems to know every fucking thing that goes around there. There's several things, that weird shit that happened. There was some crazy person that was on their property, and then he's just going to get like some sort of, I don't know, mental health check or some shit. But they wanted to press charges for trespassing. No, get him for trespassing. But they didn't arrest him for trespassing. Who are these people? Are they protecting these fucking criminal fucks? Are they part of the KKK? The Clarks told police the Mallorys would stalk them, cross their easement, and intimidate them by sitting at their fence and watching them until they went inside, and constantly call the police on them. That's not intimidation. You could sit on your porch. You could sit on, they said stalk them, cross their easement. Cross their easement. So the easement went on their fucking property. So are they crossing the easement to the other side so the easement's their property, on the other side of the easement's their property? Where's the crime? They would stalk them, your neighbors. Every time they walk out of the house, he's stalking me. Is he stalking you, or did he just walk outside and you happen to be outside and you guys are just outside? That's it. You are outside, they're outside. That's it. Nobody's stalking anybody. I think the stalking charge had to do with them stealing the surveillance video. Apparently, you're not allowed to videotape somebody constantly. So you can't constantly videotape them, but you could videotape them here and there or something. I'm not for sure. Some kind of law. Teresa Clark, Courtney filed 6 restraining orders against the neighbor. So Teresa Clark, right? Courtney tried to use the law, had 6 restraining orders. The station said the neighbor filed a similar order against them, saying she was harassed and stalked. The neighbor in question was named by Colorado Public Radio as Teresa Clark. Who is this Teresa Clark? Courtney said Teresa Clark came onto his property uninvited, armed with a gun, damaged the gate and a security camera. Yeah, that sounds like KKK shit right there. That sounds like some KKK shit right there. He had all that dumb shit happening to him, and now this piece of crap is going on to his fucking property? Are you the one? I mean, you want to say a person of interest? I just found a fucking person of interest in the Donasiana Amayana. Did you ask Teresa Clark what the hell she knows? Teresa Clark, did you know this Donasiana Amaya? I bet you Teresa Clark knows more than what she lets on. Teresa Clark complained that Courtney had hurt his horse and turned some of his animals loose. Hurt her horse. So, fucking media is kind of getting... Okay, Geneva wrote a GoFundMe page. The Mallorys, they said they set up their farm. They lost everything in Hurricane Harvey, a storm that devastated Texas and Louisiana in 2017. Then they bought the farm in El Paso County, August 2020. And then since the harassment began, Courtney told the Ark Republic that he's lost about $200,000. On Tuesday, Courtney Mallory was released on bond after his arrest for speaking out. Let's see. After they spoke out on his arrest, Nicole Mallory filmed her husband's arrest by state police. Nicole Mallory is pictured with her animals, whom she named such as George Floyd, Brianna, and Juneteenth. That's beautiful. I love that she names her animals George Floyd, Brianna, and Juneteenth. It shows that she cares and loves about her animals. Yeah, you might have to slaughter the animals at the end of their life, but you don't need to torture them throughout their entire fucking lives. George Floyd, Brianna, and Juneteenth. I like this. I love Nicole and Courtney Mallory. So apparently the sheriff said that there's 170 phone calls that involved the Mallorys. And then they investigated 19 different complaints. Let's see if we can find this Teresa Clark. Teresa Clark, El Paso. You just put, El Paso. Out in El Paso. So, not really seeing where this Teresa Clark is. So we'll have to find who this Teresa Clark is later on. So, the Colorado Constitution is 1876. It was written in 1876. That's why Colorado is called the Centennial State, because 1876 is 100 years after 1776, after America was born. So Colorado is the Centennial State. Maybe we should thank the Confederates, but we could have been formed earlier. We could have been formed 10 years earlier. Colorado didn't get formed until 1876 because the Confederates had blocked the formation of the state. Which is interesting because right-wing sovereign pieces of shit, they don't believe that the state officials have any power. They call themselves constitutionalists, but the U.S. Constitution allows for states to be created. They have to be republics, and they have to have a constitution, and they got to model a lot of The Constitution allows for states to be created. The Constitution had 13 states originally. But these right-wing sovereigns are saying, nope, it's just the federal government, it's just America, and none of the state. They've gone from one side to the other. Before it was all states' rights, and now they say no states are even here. Which isn't, motherfucker. But that's important, because right-wing sovereigns, that's KKK racist shit that we had to deal with. I think we're still dealing with it here in Conejos and Costilla County. And fuck the right-wing sovereign pieces of shit. Any one of you bastards want to go to fucking court, I'll cross-examine the shit out of you. Let's see. So the right-wing sovereigns don't believe in state officials. That means they also, therefore, if they don't believe in the state of Colorado being a constitutional, creation, it is. But if they don't believe in the state of Colorado, then they're not going to believe in the administrative units. They're not going to believe in the counties, in the cities. They're not going to believe in the sheriffs or the clerks or the county commissioners. They're not going to believe in any of the county or city or local officials. None of the state officials matter, just the federal government. I think they're a bunch of dumb motherfuckers making up shit. But it's just interesting how the Confederates and the right-wing sovereigns are basically saying the same shit. Colorado isn't here. We don't want the state of Colorado. Get rid of the state of Colorado. I like the republic, and I like America being the king republic. We have 50 individual republics, and then all the republics are united in one, in a federal republic. I like our federal republic system. I like our constitutional democratic republic. The Rocky Mountain NAACP is involved in the case. The deputy who wrote the 6-page documents called them the victims, not the alleged victims. Teresa Clark and her elderly mother. Oh, they fear for their safety because of the unusual and disturbing behavior by their neighbors, the Mallorys. They fear for their safety because of the unusual and disturbing, maybe because they're pieces of shit. They don't like black folks, and they're just afraid. Did they ever get attacked? Did any of your fucking pets? I mean, did this goddamn Teresa... We're supposed to believe that Teresa Clark is the fucking victim, right? Teresa Clark is the victim. Okay, Teresa Clark. Do you have people going into your house, spray painting a bunch of racist shit in your house? Do you have people that killed somebody on your fucking property, shot somebody in the back of the head in a goddamn chicken coop? Did you have somebody that gutted a pig? Did you have somebody that poisoned one of your fucking dogs? Did you have somebody that poisoned a baby goat? You have people driving over your fence post, pulling your fence post up? Do you have anybody stealing your motion sensors in your surveillance camera? Do you have people driving by brandishing fucking firearms? That's felony menacing, by the way. Is your cattle being vandalized and mutilated? You got 40 acres. They got 1,000 acres. Why do you guys even talk to each other? Just mind your own business. You got 48. Be happy that you got 40 fucking acres. You know how many poor people are in this country? You know how many homeless people are in this country? And you got 40 fucking acres, and because you got to keep up with the Joneses, you're all pissed off. And the biggest, Ted Turner has like fucking 5,000, 500 fucking thousand acres. And then some other motherfucker, he's got like 270,000 acres. So really the motherfucking richest people, the ruling class, nobody says shit. Oh, the Clarks have 1,000 acres. Who gives a shit? That one motherfucker has 270 fucking thousand. Who is that guy? Largest landowner, Colorado. They just came up with a thing that said Ted Turner has 550,000 acres. And actually, we have private rangelands, which, okay, so if you just put it all together, private rangelands is about 25 million acres, but those are all owned by lots of different people. Federal government's got 24 million acres. Land trust, there's 3.4 million acres of land trust. The Colorado State Land Board has nearly 3 million acres. Ted Turner has over 500,000 acres. And then John Malone, he's got 270,000 acres. So to all those white supremacist pieces of shit in Colorado Springs, all those white supremacist pieces of shit in Colorado Springs, you're going to get jealous over two black folks who own 1,000 acres. Meanwhile, John Malone owns 270,000 fucking acres. 270,000 motherfucking acres. People just want to get fucking shitty to somebody that's by them, but really it doesn't make any fucking sense. You're pissed off of what? Somebody owning some land more than you? John Malone owns way fucking more land than all you motherfuckers. And why does he get to own all that fucking land? Nobody asked that goddamn question, right? Let him do his fucking thing. You think he has to worry about neighbors? He's got 270 fucking thousand acres, right? If somebody drives by one part of his fucking property, he's got, another 269 fucking thousand fucking acres that he could walk on. Nobody is going to bother him ever. He's never going to get harassed by anybody ever if he doesn't want to. Just go to the interior of his property. So Teresa Clark said that Courtney had hurt her horse and turned some of her animals loose. So that's the extent. That's all I've heard so far. There was one thing about a process server, Nicole. So that if there's any criticism so far of the Mallorys, it's just what, how Nicole Mallory had treated a process server. But I wonder what the process server said. I wonder how the process server approached them. You're just delivering legal papers. You don't have to cuss a person out. You don't have to say this or that. Just hand the papers to the person, right, and walk away. If you don't even really have to explain anything. It's, English, right? So here's some legal documents. Thank you. Have a nice day. And then if not, you can post it on their fucking fence, just post it on the post. So they, bought the farm August 2020. They estimate that they've lost about $200,000. On Tuesday, Courtney Mallory was released on bond. Let's see here. Sheriff's office said in a press release they responded to 170 calls, investigated 19 different complaints. Deputy Sergeant Emery Gerhardt. We're going to have to talk about Deputy Sergeant Emery Gerhardt. So let's see. The deputy who wrote the 6-page document called them the victims and said that they feared for their safety because of the unusual and disturbing behavior by the neighbors, the Mallorys. Well, you gotta come quick. What's going on? These people over here, their skin isn't pale like mine. They got darker melanin. You're a mutated albino, right? You know about natural selection, polar bears. The reason why polar bears were able to survive up in the Arctic, because their skin is white. And since they have white skin, they can blend in with the snow. And since they can blend in with the snow, predators can't kill them. So, but the white bear wasn't the first bear. Black bear was the first bear. White bears can't have a black bear, but black bears can have a white bear. It was a mutated albino. There was a bunch of black bears, and then they had a couple white bears. And, they probably got laughed at like reindeer, right? Like fucking Rudolph. He had a red nose. He was different than all the rest. But nature in the snow said that they prefer the white bears. Now, that's in the snow. If they're, somewhere in a darker area around the forest or whatever, it's probably better to be brown and black. But a white bear can hide in the snow a little bit better. That's who you are, Caucasian. You're the polar bear. So I'm going to get back to Emery Gerhardt and Teresa Clark. We really got to find out who these people are, because these are the main culprits. They're sitting there saying it's this Emery Gerhardt. He's a fucking deputy sergeant who's got a fucking judge in his pocket. Does a judge sign? Let's see, actually. Let's take a look at these documents. So you have here the affidavit is submitted to the court to document the probable cause in support of a request for the issuance of an arrest warrant. So these are affidavits for an arrest warrant. So these are arrest warrant affidavits for both Nicole and... So let's see who signed it. I'm pretty sure he had signed it at the very bottom. It says some kind of judge here. It starts with a C. I can't read the damn name. Sergeant E.R. Gerhardt. And then somebody here. It doesn't look like Gerhardt, but I can't tell what the last name says. What was the judge's name? Let's see if the first name looks like. So we're going to go up here and take a look at this. That's, a conflict of interest. Conflict of interest doesn't have to be criminal. If he's married to a judge, then that means she knows other judges. So you could get one of the other judges to Shannon Gerhardt. Shannon Gerhardt? No, it doesn't. It's Judge something had signed this fucking arrest warrant. Looks like C something, so I don't know if I'll be able to pull up and figure that out. But there's no direct, there wasn't direct. Magistrate, Deborah Pearson. So a Deborah Pearson was the magistrate that had signed the arrest warrant, which is interesting. A magistrate is less than a judge. And all they have here, sworn and subscribed before to me on this day, I mean, all he did was just type it up real nice and then, swear that what he just typed up was true. And then the judge, or the magistrate signed off on it. So now you have an arrest warrant. So let's see. He's actually 1 year older than me. He's like my age. That's interesting. 1981. So, and he weighs 165 pounds. So, what am I trying to say here? The corruption isn't obvious. But that doesn't mean there isn't corruption. The lack of evidence isn't the evidence of absence. The absence of the lack of... So, we got more to talk about with the Gerhardts coming up next.